Welcome back, children. How are you all? Hope you are all fine. So, last class we have discussed about what is commerce, why need commerce, and intro to commerce. What is commerce? Commerce is a trade, that means exchange of goods or service. Today we are going to discuss about commerce and trade in North India. So, during the medieval period from 12th to 16th centuries, India was so prosperous. Balban was the first sultan who paved the way in the dense forest and helped the traders to move from one market to another place. Next, we are going to discuss about Pumbuhad. Have you heard about Pumbuhad? Yes, isn't it? It is one such place which is said to have flourished from 200 BC. The seaside town which is in the Pumbuhad was once the second capital of Chola dynasty, and it was a major center for international trade. Which was the major item for export here? Silk. Silk appears to be a major item of exports from here. The ancient port was destroyed and it is now found by the archaeologist. Alauddin Khalji was also encouraged import of foreign goods from Persia. Arabs were dominant players in India's foreign trade. They never discouraged Indian traders like Tamil, Gujaratis, etc. The important trade centers were Delhi, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Sonar, Jaunpur, Lahore, and so on. So you all know handicraft. We Indians are very flourished in handicraft, isn't it? So India's handicraft commanded a good foreign market. India imported horses, dry fruits, precious stones, glassware, high-grade textiles. Then they imported from Kabul, Arabian Europe. What else they have imported from them? Rasils, quarrels, scented oil, velvets. These items they were imported from Kabul, Arabia, Europe, West Asia and China. Okay. Indians were not only import the goods but also they export the goods to some countries. What were the countries? Indian products were exported to East Africa, Malaya, China and Far East. Okay. Then the traders of Malabar, Gujarat and foreign settlers in the ports of Calicut, Kumpat and Mangalore controlled a major business sector in port cities. So they settled down in the port cities of India. Thus the commerce and trade developed in North India in those days. By this sort of import and exports they developed. Next, trade with Rome, China and Europe. So there was a relationship with the ancient kings Pandya and Chola and Chera dynasties with Roman and Greek traders. So the Cholas conquered Sri Vijay Empire of Indonesia and Malaysia to secure a sea trading route to China. During the 16th and 18th centuries, overseas trade expanded due to trading with European companies. The discovery of new all-sea routes from Europe to India via Cape of Good Hope by Vasco da Gama had far-reaching impact on civilized world. The arrival of Portuguese in India was followed by advent of other European communities. So after the arrival of Portuguese, other advent European communities they followed. They entered India. India's maritime trade was a monopolist one. What is the meaning of monopoly? Do you know the meaning of monopoly? Monopoly is a market structure characterized by a single seller selling a unique product in a market. That means he enjoys the selling price for his goods. He only fix all the selling price. Everything will be done by the same owner. Okay, that is called monopoly. So here the India's maritime trade was monopolist won over Europeans. So Europeans only fixed everything, okay. And at one stage the global trade share of India was 55%, which is just 2% in 21st century. So this much of difference were there. They gained a strong foothold in India's maritime trade by virtue of their strong naval power. Because of their strong naval power, they actually settled in India. Britishers put in one place policies prohibiting the export of some other popular goods like Indian textile goods, handicrafts to Great Britain. So they were very selfish, isn't it? They never export the goods from India to their place. The goods were like textile goods, handicrafts, like that. Next we are going to see about barter system. Already I told you what is barter system. What is barter system? Exchange of goods for goods. So goods were exchanged for goods prior to invention of money. So prior the invention of money, the traders, they exchange the goods for goods. So there are some conditions for barter system. What might be the conditions? Each party to the barter must have surplus stocks for the trade to take place. Is it true, isn't it? For example, if I produced, milk, okay. If I have the surplus of milk, then only I can sell it, isn't it? Like that, in barter system, each of the seller can sell the product only if they have a surplus of goods. The second thing, both the buyers and sellers should require goods each other desperately. For example, if I am the producer of a paddy, okay, a rice, and you are the producer for a wheat, okay. If I need wheat, then I can sell my paddy to you or rice to you and get back what is that wheat from you. If I don't need, then there won't be any trade, isn't it? The next thing, buyer and seller should meet personally to effect the exchange, okay. Otherwise the trade won't be happen. So buyer and seller should meet personally in barter system. Next we are going to see constraints in barter system. What is the meaning of constraints? Limitations or restrictions. Barter system imposes certain constraints in the smooth flow of trade, okay. What are the certain constraints? First one, lack of double coincidence of wants. Unless two persons who have surplus have the demand for the goods possessed by each other, barter could not materialized. In your book, the example is given. For instance, A is having surplus of groundnut and B is possessing rice in surplus. If this coincidence of wants does not exist, barter cannot take place, isn't it? Okay. Second one, non-existence of common measures of value. Barter system could not determine the value of commodities to be exchanged, as they lacked commonly acceptable measures to evaluate each and every commodity. For example, if I am the producer of apple and you are the producer of banana, you all know that the value of apple is higher than value of banana, isn't it? If we exchange banana with apple, then the barter system could not complete, isn't it? Next, lack of direct contact between producer and consumer. You all know that, and the barter system happens only the buyer and seller meet each other, isn't it? Otherwise it won't happen. In some cases, if it's not possible to meet, then there won't be any trade occur, isn't it? Next, lack of surplus stock. I already told you that if the buyers and sellers do not have surplus, then no barter was possible. So if both buyer and seller have the excess surplus things, then the barter system happen. So these are the constraints in barter system. What are they? Lack of double coincidence of wants, non-existence of common measures of value, lack of direct contact between producer and consumer, and lack of surplus stock. Okay, children. Because of these constraints in barter system, invention of money came into existence. So they found the medium of exchange. What is the medium of exchange? Money. So only they found silver coin, bronze coin, copper coin, like that. Okay. So the invention of money came into existence because of the constraints of barter system. Okay. The last topic is hindrances of commerce. What is the meaning of hindrance? Obstacles. Okay. What may be the obstacle of commerce? So commerce serves as a valuable link between producer and the consumer, isn't it? And so the production of goods and services for the satisfaction of human wants is the main objective of the industry. Why the industry produce goods? Only for the satisfaction of the customer, isn't it? After producing the goods, it comprises all forms of trade. That means wholesaler to the retailer, import, export, then banking, transporting, warehousing, insurancing, and advertising. So what are the hindrances of all these? Let us see. Okay. First one, hindrances of a person. The manufacturer or the producer do not face the consumer directly, isn't it? Most of the retailers only know the taste of the consumer. So the manufacturer has to rely on the middlemen. That means wholesaler, agents, retailers. So the link between the producer and the consumers are wholesalers, agents, and retailers. Okay. Next, hindrance of place. The production of a product takes place in one center and the consumers may be in another place. So only through the transport, what might of transport? Rail transport, sea transport, air transport, bring the products to the place of the consumer. So without transport, the manufacturer or the wholesalers or the retailers cannot satisfy the need of the consumer. Consumers, they need the product whenever they have money, time, and willingness to buy, isn't it? But the producer should produce the product in time. That means, for example, the salt production might be happen in the summer season, isn't it? They are unable to produce the salt in the rainy season. Then how can they satisfy the customer? They have to produce earlier and they have to store in the warehouse, isn't it? So that they can satisfy the need of the customer. So at the right time, they can satisfy the need of the consumer. So the warehouse plays a vital role. If they produce a surplus products, they can store it in the warehouse too. Okay. Next, hindrances of risk of deterioration in quality. What is the meaning of deterioration? Decline, becoming progressively worse. For example, if we take 3 Roses tea as an example. So they produced in a lump sum and they have stored in the warehouse, isn't it? So at the need of the customer, they have to satisfy it. But the quality of the products wouldn't be deteriorated, so that they have to pack in air conditioned storage houses. So goods are protected against insects, rats, evaporation, etc. So there is a hindrance of risk in the decline in the quality of the product. Okay. Next, hindrances of risk of loss. When the risk of loss occur, if there is any accident, might be fire accident or theft or floods, may bring huge loss to the business, isn't it? How can they overcome this? Only because of insurance. Insurance helps the businessman or a company to overcome this sort of risk of losses. Hindrances of knowledge. What is that? I will give an example. If the Maruti company manufacture a new model of a Maruti car. How can we, the customer, know? Only because of the advertisement. So advertising and communication help in announcing the arrival of new products and their uses to the people. Hindrance of exchange. What is the medium of exchange in business or trade? Money, isn't it? In those days, they exchange the goods for goods. But now, the medium of exchange of business is money, isn't it? Hindrance of finance. All the manufacturer or all the businessmen or all the companies won't have the enough money to do the business, isn't it? So they have to get the help from the financial institutions. They may get the loan from the bank or any other financial institutions, isn't it? So producer and traders may not have the record funds at the time of their need. So banks or other financial institutions provide funds and help them to do the business smoothly. Hindrance of developing the exact product. According to the standard of living of the people only, the manufacturer can produce the product, isn't it? The Benz car won't be purchased by a middle class family, isn't it? So they can buy Maruti or what is that? Any other company of a car, isn't it? So research and development helps in developing the exact product or service for the consumers. The last one, hindrance of both selection and delivery at doorsteps. In those days, in the barter system, the buyer and the seller should meet each other. Then the manufacturer could not able to see the consumer, so he seeks the help of the wholesaler or retailer, like that. But nowadays the consumer can get the goods at their door itself. How is it possible? Only through e-commerce. Nowadays online orders are placed, isn't it, by the consumers. They can pay through the online Paytm, like that. Otherwise cash on delivery. After getting the goods, they can give the cash. So these comes under the hindrance of both selection and delivery at doorsteps. Okay children, just a short recap what you have learnt. Okay, first you have learnt about what is commerce, then trade in Pandya dynasty, then coastal trade in ancient Tamil Nadu, then contribution of Kautilya to trade, commerce and trade in North India, trade with Rome, China and Europe, barter system and the hindrance of trade. Okay children, I hope you understood. Just you go through the book line by line. With the help of this video, you can easily understand the concept of the lesson. Now you don't have book, I think so. We have sent the PDF, isn't it? With the help of the PDF, you can understand this lesson. Okay children, be safe, be honest, take care. Thank you.